AJ is going to be fighting Jarrell Miller June 1st, we know, MSG. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are soon to be confirming their rematch, I believe. And Dylan White is probably going to be fighting Dominic Breazeale. So it opens up the question, who is Oleksandr Usyk, undisputed reigning cruiserweight champion of the world? Who is he going to fight for his heavyweight debut? I heard Eddie Hearn talk about him fighting maybe in May, and it was either going to be a fight again at cruiserweight or his heavyweight debut. I don't see much point in going back down to cruiserweight, where I think there is another World Boxing Super Series tournament getting going. But from what I can see of that, a lot of the guys in there, the seeds, are just guys that Usyk has already beaten. So there wouldn't be much point there. And of course, the money isn't going to be as good. So he needs to get going, I think, with these heavyweight aspirations. You've got to remember, Usyk is 33, is he? I know he's older than AJ and Fury and Wilder. So no, he hasn't had the biggest or longest professional career so far, and he generally has been defensively savvy enough to make it fairly easy considering the opponents he's fought. But this guy isn't getting any younger. Training takes it out of you. So he's got to keep that in mind. His first fight at heavyweight does need to be good, but the only guys I can really see him fighting that seem to be viable options are Alexander Povetkin and Luis Ortiz. Both guys, if he was to fight either of those on his debut, that is a heck of a way to enter the division. Guys he's probably capable of beating, but that is no sure thing at all. He could really get a rude awakening. Would they chance something like that on his first fight? Are they that confident? I'm not so sure what's happened in sparring, how confident he feels, but that would seem pretty crazy. Out of those two options, I feel that Povetkin may give him the most bother. Povetkin, if he isn't faced with a guy who's got clear physical advantages like Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua had over him, he is going to be able to bull in, really make his physical strength count, and really go for it. Usyk wasn't even a particularly big puncher at cruiserweight, so unless he can completely outmaneuver Sasha, Povetkin would be boring in. And if he's close to as good as he was against AJ, he showed there tactically very good with his ambush attacks, very brave, very tough, and pretty powerful. He could really give Usyk some trouble. I feel Usyk would probably have easier is the wrong word. He may find it a bit better against Luis Ortiz, because Ortiz is more of a boxer, and he may play more into Usyk's hands with his better degree of movement, his better engine. He might be able to outfine and tire the bigger man out and make him get sloppy as the rounds go and cruise to a UD. But that in itself is not a sure thing either, because Ortiz is very crafty and hits very hard on the counter. So both fights for a debut would be very tough. But it's hard to see whoever else he would fight that would turn heads, that would mean something. And we know, again, he's not exactly very young. He's not going to spend ages fighting the bottom feeders, building himself up in the weight. He's got to get a move on. Speed, one of his critical advantages against the bigger man, is only going to wane as time goes by. So Usyk needs to get on it. Who do you think he is going to fight? Would it be one of those two guys? And if it was, how do you think he'd do against them?